Did you know that there is a planet where the wind never stops? It's not a gentle breeze. It's not a storm. It's a permanent, planet-wide hurricane that has been raging for decades, with gusts of wind that travel faster than the speed of sound. And somewhere deep inside this planet, it might actually be raining diamonds. This is Neptune. And today, you're going to see that what is actually happening on this planet is so much stranger, so much more violent, and so much more fascinating than most people ever realize. Before we get into the wild stuff, let's dive into the sheer scale of this planet. Neptune is the 8th and furthest planet in our solar system. It's about 4.5 billion kilometers from the Sun. The only spacecraft that has ever visited Neptune up close is Voyager 2, and it flew by in 1989. That's it. One flyby. That's all we've had. Everything else we know about Neptune has come from ground-based telescopes, the Hubble Space Telescope and the James Webb Space Telescope. Now, Neptune is what scientists call an ice giant, which is a slightly misleading name because it's not actually covered in ice the way you might imagine. It's more like a massive ball of hot, dense fluid made of water, methane, and ammonia, all swirling under enormous pressure. The ice refers to the ammonia in its chemical composition, not the temperature at the surface. Neptune is about 4 times wider than Earth, and if you hollowed it out, you could fit roughly 57 Earths inside it. It's big, really big. But here's the thing about Neptune. It gets kind of overlooked. Nobody really talks about it. Jupiter gets the attention. Saturn has its rings. Mars gets the coolest missions. And Neptune just kind of sits out there, at the edge of the solar system, quietly doing the most insane things imaginable, with absolutely zero attention. Until now. Let's talk about what's happening in Neptune's atmosphere, because this is where things start getting crazy. Neptune has the fastest winds of any planet in the solar system. Not Jupiter with its giant storm, not Saturn, Neptune. Wind speeds on Neptune can reach up to 2,100 kilometers per hour. For context, the most powerful hurricane ever recorded on Earth, named Hurricane Patricia in 2015, had sustained winds of around 345 kilometers per hour, and that was considered catastrophic. Neptune's winds are 6 times faster than that, sustained, permanently, across the entire planet. But here's what makes this so puzzling to scientists. Neptune is incredibly far from the Sun. It receives roughly 900 times less sunlight than Earth does. Less sunlight means less energy heating the atmosphere, which should mean calmer weather. But Neptune has the most extreme weather we've ever found. So where is all that energy coming from? The answer is, we don't fully know. Scientists believe Neptune generates significantly more heat from within itself than it receives from the Sun, because it radiates about 2.6 times more energy than it absorbs. It is likely internal heat left over from the planet's formation billions of years ago that is still slowly leaking out, and that internal energy is what's driving those insane winds. The planet is essentially powering its own weather from the inside out. Now, within all this chaos, Neptune has hosted some pretty iconic storms. When Voyager 2 flew past it in 1989, it photographed a massive dark storm system in Neptune's southern hemisphere about the size of Earth. Scientists called it the Great Dark Spot, and it looked like a permanent feature, something that would define Neptune the way the Great Red Spot defines Jupiter. But a few years later, it was gone. The Hubble Space Telescope looked for it in 1994, and it had completely vanished without a trace. A storm the size of an entire planet just dissolved. New dark spots have appeared and disappeared multiple times since then, and we now know that Neptune's storms are incredibly dynamic. They form, they grow, and then they die in ways we're still trying to understand. This is actually one of the reasons scientists are so excited about Neptune. It's not behaving the way that most models predict. And in science, when something doesn't behave the way you expect it to, that's when you're on the edge of discovering something new. Okay, so the weather is intense, but is there anything else to know about Neptune? Well, if you can believe it, it might be raining diamonds inside Neptune. That wasn't a joke. This is an actual scientific hypothesis that has been tested in laboratories and has serious experimental evidence behind it. Here's how it works. Neptune's interior is under almost unimaginably extreme pressure and heat. As you go deeper into the planet, temperatures climb to thousands of degrees Celsius, and the pressure reaches millions of times what we experience at Earth's surface. Neptune's atmosphere contains a significant amount of methane. That's actually where its vivid blue color comes from, because methane absorbs red light and reflects blue. But under those extreme pressures deep inside the planet, the carbon and hydrogen atoms in methane get ripped apart. The hydrogen disperses, and the carbon atoms are compressed so intensely that they crystallize into diamonds. Scientists theorize that these diamond crystals then fall through the planet's interior, sinking slowly toward the core like glittering rain. It may be possible that over billions of years, Neptune could have accumulated a thick layer of diamond around its core, like a diamond shell, sitting at the heart of this distant world. In 2017, researchers at Stanford University actually recreated these conditions in a lab, firing powerful lasers at a polystyrene sample, which has a similar chemical structure to the relevant compounds in Neptune, and they observed diamonds forming in real time under those conditions. Now, the conditions required to produce these diamonds would destroy any machine or probe we could ever build, so we may never actually see them. But the fact that this is almost certainly happening right now inside a planet 4.5 billion kilometers away is something that really makes you stop and just appreciate how absolutely wild the universe is. Neptune has 16 known moons, and most of them are pretty small and unremarkable. But one of them, named Triton, is something else entirely. Triton is Neptune's largest moon, and it is one of the most bizarre objects in the entire solar system, for one very specific reason. It orbits Neptune backwards. Every other large moon in the solar system orbits its planet in the same direction that the planet rotates. That's normal. That's what happens when a moon forms naturally from the same cloud of gas and dust as its planet. But Triton orbits Neptune in the opposite direction, in what scientists call a retrograde orbit. This tells us something huge. Triton didn't form alongside Neptune. It was a free-roaming object in the outer solar system, likely from the Kuiper Belt, the vast region of icy objects beyond Neptune. And at some point billions of years ago, Neptune's gravity captured it. Here's the other thing about Triton. It's geologically active. Voyager 2 photographed geysers on Triton's surface, erupting dark plumes of nitrogen gas several kilometers into the sky. So Triton is an icy moon captured from the outer solar system with active geysers. But here's the dark twist. Triton is doomed. Because it orbits retrograde, tidal forces are gradually slowing it down and pulling it closer to Neptune. In about 3.6 billion years, Triton will cross what's called the Roche limit, the point where a moon gets so close to its planet that gravitational forces will tear it apart. The debris will likely form a spectacular ring system around Neptune, rivaling Saturn's rings. Neptune will eventually destroy its own most interesting moon, and it's been happening in slow motion for billions of years. In September 2022, the James Webb Space Telescope turned its incredible infrared eye toward Neptune, and the image that came back was absolutely stunning. For the first time in over 30 years, we had a clear, detailed, new look at Neptune's ring system. Neptune has rings. Most people don't know that. They're much fainter than Saturn's and much harder to see, which is why they get so little attention. But they're real, and in the JWST images, they appeared sharper and more detailed than ever before. But the rings weren't even the most interesting part. JWST photographed Neptune in infrared wavelengths, which reveals heat patterns and atmospheric structures invisible to regular light. And what scientists saw was something they had never observed before. A glow around Neptune's south pole that suggests a polar vortex of some kind. It is only when the most powerful space telescope ever built turns its attention to it and immediately finds things we've never seen before. Neptune has been sitting there this whole time with secrets, just waiting. So, when are we going back? This is a question the planetary science community has been wrestling with for a while. NASA's Planetary Science Decadal Survey, which is basically the document where scientists vote on which missions they consider the highest priorities, has actually ranked a dedicated Neptune mission as the second highest priority for large flagship missions, right after a Uranus orbiter mission. There are serious conversations happening about what a Neptune mission could look like. The main concept involves an orbiter that would spend years circling Neptune, studying its atmosphere, its magnetic field, its rings, and getting a much closer look at Triton, which some scientists believe could harbor a subsurface ocean. If that ocean exists, Triton joins the short list of places in our solar system where the conditions for life as we understand it might exist. Unfortunately, we won't have answers soon. A mission to Neptune would take years to design, years to build, and then somewhere between 12 to 16 years just to travel there. Neptune is a perfect example of why it is important to explore outer space. It's distant, it's extreme, it's mysterious. And every time we look at it, we find something that surprises us. Diamond rain, retrograde moons, winds that break the sound barrier, storms the size of planets that appear and vanish without a trace. And we've only visited it once. If you've made it this far, drop a comment below with the thing that surprised you most in the video. Thanks for watching.